guys, so today is a behind the scenes video of how I shot the concert I'm currently shooting, except it's kind of halfway through and I haven't been filming anything, so we're just going to use whatever footage I got, so we're going to head back on out there. Today, I want to share with you my process of preparing and shooting for a country music concert. Admittedly, this was supposed to be a vlog, but considering that this was the only other usable clip, I probably could have had someone come with me to help film that vlog, but it probably actually would have been impractical, which actually relates to a point which I'll get to. That being said, step one, preparing for the shoot. Now, when it comes to preparing for any shoot, it helps to know as much about the venue that you're going to be shooting at as much as possible. So in my case, it was going to be a dark room with not a lot of light, so I gotta decide what camera am I bringing. So I could bring my Canon 80D, which is a 24.2 megapixel sensor camera, or I could bring my R5, which is a 45 megapixel sensor. Now, the lower the megapixel count in a camera, the better in low light it's going to be. That being said, I also know I want to crop into an image so that way I can get the framing that I want. Now, I could have easily brought both my 80D and my R5, but I really just wanted to bring the small package, if I can grab this without looking, of the Peter McKinnon and Nomadic sling bag, because the size of the venue just was not going to be big enough to warrant trying to dual wield two cameras. Additionally, why I decided to go with my full frame R5 is in part because of the lenses I have available to me. So currently on my camera is the 15 to 35 f2.8, I believe, and I use that for basically everything. And I also have the 24 to 105 f4 for that camera, so this would allow me to be far away and get good compression in the photo, whereas for my 80D I have, which is a crop body, so whatever lens that you put on is actually going to be magnified to more than what your lens is. So this is the Sigma 18 to 35 f1.8 with a crop body, ends up probably being more like a 24 to 70, but this still just doesn't give me quite enough length, and my only other two lenses are variable aperture, which I really don't like. One is the defaulto lens that comes with this, which is the 18 to 55, but it's a variable aperture, so when you zoom in closer, it means your aperture increases and your image gets darker and you're having to compensate for it, and I hate it. The other one is a 10 to 15. Again, it's a really wide lens, not good for what I was trying to accomplish. So for all those reasons, I went with the R5, brought the 15 to 35 and my 24 to 105, an extra battery, and was able to put it in this compact package. Whoops, I already started turning down the set, but I wanted to mention additionally why I chose the R5 was for the video feature, where I can film in C-Log3 like I am right now, which would give me more dynamic range for filming in a low light situation. Unlike my 80D, which doesn't have any form of log, a pseudo log, which I created from a different video, but actual log gives me more dynamic range in post, so that's what I did. Phase 2, shooting the performance. First and foremost, whenever you are assigned to shoot a performance, always show up early. If you are early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. End of story. Now, for this instance, I was shooting both photos and videos. Now, to make this quick and easy, I did have my custom buttons set on my camera. So on the R5, it's your info, no, gosh dang it. It's your mode button and info button. That allows you to switch between photo and video. Now, if you just hit mode, you can set your custom 1, 2, and 3. So my default setting is actually the same setting I use when I use my R5 as a webcam, and I have that set to be 1080p, which is why it doesn't overheat, when it's being used as a webcam in that mode. Custom 1 is actually the setting I'm using right now, which is set to C-Log 3, and I've set the aperture, the shutter speed, the ISO, all that jazz. And same thing on the photo side, make sure I have a fairly consistent shutter that I plan to use, shutter, f-stop, ISO, all that stuff, so I can just quickly flip between the two and not miss a moment when I want to capture video and photo. That's one way of being quick, but another way of being quick, again, kind of goes back to the reason why some people bring multiple cameras. They can have a dedicated camera for photos and a dedicated camera for video. But again, this event just was not big enough for me to warrant bringing 2 cameras. That and the R5 is pretty quick at switching between modes. Unlike some cameras, I know this is the most unrelatable camera to mention, but like the R5C, I know is notoriously slow for switching between a mode that accepts photos and cinema mode, which is its filming mode. Now, one could argue, well, even if you were using that camera, isn't the amount of time you'd spend switching between those modes just as long as it takes for you to switch between lenses? Yeah, and again, goes back to why people bring 2 cameras, but again, I just didn't feel like the event was big enough to warrant bringing 2 separate cameras, because again, you don't want to be wasting time fumbling with your lenses trying to make sure that everything is good to go and that you're not getting dust in your lens, all the while some awesome shot just happened and you have missed it. So choose wisely, plan accordingly. You can't get everything, but you can certainly try. Additionally, when it comes to shooting live events, you always want to be moving around. So don't just stay at a stagnant eye level, because if I shot an entire event just at eye level like this is boring. Like, you better be, oh gosh, I did legs a couple days ago, ow. You better be getting low to get those shots. You better be, forgot to move the microphone, you better be getting high. But don't do drugs, kids. Say no to drugs. Say yes to Jesus. But also don't be afraid to get wide to get an establishing shot. But also don't be afraid to get real up close and personal on the action and get those wonderful, beautiful, crispy detail shots. And when I say close, this isn't a bit. This is like honest to goodness, like how close you may want to get, assuming you're able to get this close. I say this because there was a breakout session at a journalism conference I attended back when I was in high school, and the following quote was mentioned: "If you are not getting hit or wet, you are not close enough." Now, this was in fact talking about shooting sporting events, but if you ask me, this applies to any event. I don't care what type of photographer you are. If you want a close shot, this is how close you need to be. And now phase 3, post-production. When it comes to picking the shots, I love picking the ones that are A, crisp and clear and in focus, first and foremost. And secondly, where the singer or the guitarist or whomever is really like showing up, or they're having a highlight moment during the show and you can capture them rocking out up close and personal with the audience. Get that shot. If he's having a moment where he's like, this is awesome, this means so much to me, I'm singing my heart out, get that shot. Additionally, if there's ever a moment where the lead singer or someone in the band is directly interacting with you and being a ridiculous goofball, or just really showing up, giving it their all, and especially if you can get on stage, those are amazing, because those are often angles that someone in the audience would not be able to see. When it comes to capturing photos of an event, you want to make sure that you are basically capturing the story, because as a society, that's really all we care about, is understanding the story and feeling what everyone else is feeling in this captured millisecond of time. Additionally, I also like to make sure that I'm covering an event evenly and fairly and not just singling out one person, because in a situation like this, I don't want to just capture the lead singer, because the lead singer would not be a band without his fellow band members. Get them as well. Get them standing out in a moment. Get them when they're being highlighted. get those shots, get different angles, get low, get high. I already did the bit. Now, I don't entirely know where to put this. This actually fits perfectly between phase 3 of editing the photos and reflecting on my experience. One thing I experienced, and you may experience this with event photos, is the lead singer was actually wearing a hat, which poses a problem. Except I'm a videographer and I light my face real well, which is not what happened with this performance. But in a dark concert room where there's beams of light shining everywhere, and where the most important beams of light just so happen to be behind him, that means there's a lot of shadow on his face. So in the edit, I would try my best to take the circle gradient tool around the shadow area and bring up those shadows while still keeping the tones looking like they're still accurate to that moment and not overly post-processed. As soon as you do that, now your photo doesn't look real. Overall, even though I'm not a huge country music person, I thoroughly enjoyed myself at the event, and it's totally something I would do again when asked. And it was just one of those moments where I honestly felt like this is what I want to do more of, but like on a bigger scale. And it was amazing. I had a wonderful time. The band was super nice, and it was so interesting to see the contrast between what happens behind the scenes and behind stage versus on stage, and kind of see how everything works and how everyone functions. And it was just a great time. I hope to do more of it soon. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I wish this was more of a vlog, but even if I did bring someone along with me, I don't think they would have even done an accurate job of filming me, because like I mentioned earlier, you gotta be moving around. It was a dark room, so it would have been here, there, everywhere, on stage, off stage. It would have been a headache. So again, thank you so much for watching, and before you click anything that's on screen, don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. If I can even talk. See ya!